If you're not a videographer, keep scrolling. This video is definitely not for you. But if you are and you are struggling to hit a consistent, stable amount of revenue per month, I'm about to tell you why in 3 easy steps. Stick with me. First off, just pick a niche. This might sound very simple, but trust me, you'll be surprised the number of creators who just don't include this in their daily routine. So before you start out a career of being a creator to be able to earn a specific amount of revenue per month, you need to target a specific audience. You need to be an expert for a specific audience. So more often than more, you come across creators who are marketing themselves as a videographer and also as a photographer. So doing this, you are not just diversifying yourself for each and every audience, but in so doing, you are also the guy who actually do every kind of content. So when they ask you, oh, I shoot everything, but reality, when you don't position yourself to target a particular audience, your value comes down. So hear me out. So let's say there's someone who wants to, or who is getting married, who is doing a wedding, and then the person wants to onboard or hire a videographer to cover this said wedding. The person goes on internet, scrolls on TikTok, and come across your content. But on your page, you're advertising yourself as the guy that does everything. And then while scrolling, she also comes across a page, and that particular page is a person who says, I specialize in wedding videography or wedding coverage. Who do you think this said client or this said audience will go gear towards? Because for that person, I'm going to marry, I'm going to have a wedding. So let me just go for the guy who does only wedding, who might know what he's doing. But you're advertising yourself as someone who does everything. You understand? So you need to pick a niche. Are you the car guy, so that when anybody needs to shoot a content related to car, they know that, oh, okay, this guy, he does car content. Oh, are you the real estate guy? So when someone needs something around real estate, the person will be like, okay, this guy is your go-to person for anything real estate. Or are you the wedding guy? Or are you the sports guy? You understand? So after picking a niche, as in photography or videography, you also need to pick a niche as in what you actually cover. Am I the wedding guy? So that when anything pops in mind, okay, wedding, yes, it's this guy. Oh, okay, car content, okay, it's this guy. But rather than spreading your wings around everything, understand? So that's the first one. So step 2 is outreach. Look, listen to me very well. If you hate the idea of cold DMs, cold emails, cold calls, or cold outreach in particular, you're in the wrong business. Because hear me out. If you are someone who fears or who feels within that you going to people or you reaching out to people, they will feel like you are doing too much, you are bothering me, or some kind of stigma attached to it. If you fear that, you fear rejection, then you're in the wrong business. Unless you are someone who is well established in the field that everybody knows your name, that people rather reach out to you. But if you are starting out, cold outreach, cold DMs, cold calls, cold this, cold that, anything cold that is an outreach approach must be your friend. You understand? Because in this field, there are a lot of people who does that. You go out right now, because of how good mobile phones have become, everyone is branded as a creator. So when you don't put yourself out there, and these creators, they wake up in the morning, they shoot, let's say, a dog running in their neighborhood. They post it on TikTok, they post it on Instagram, they post it out. People see. So they are putting themselves out there. But you have all the cameras, all the setup, everything. But you don't put yourself out there. You don't have a page, you don't make calls to people, you don't visit places to maybe negotiate for business or anything. You are sitting there waiting for the business to come to you whilst you are not a big shot in the field. You'll be surprised that these creators that just have their mobile phone shooting random things, posting on the internet, making people know that I do this, I do that, might just take your work. So if you're in this business, outreach, whether being cold, whether going to events, whether seeing people, just talking to people, letting people know what you do is a non-negotiable if you want to make a steady, consistent income each month. So that's step 2. Finally, let's talk pricing. So in 2026, if you are still charging relatively cheaper to the average market price for an entire project, an entire project, being you've gotten a contract to cover a wedding, you've gotten a contract to cover a graduation ceremony, you've gotten a contract to do something, being it relating to content, and you are charging relatively cheap to the average price, thinking that when you charge that way, people will patronize your services or whatnot without it being a discount. So you can charge cheap if you make them know that, oh, we are having 30% off, that's why it's this free. That's different. But if your tactics is to charge very low, let's say market standard is 10 cedis and you are charging for 3 cedis, thinking that, okay, people will come to me. I need to bring you to reality, because now we are in a dying age whereby the vast majority go for products, go for services, go for goods that they think or that are priced right, are priced high. And this is because when goods are priced right, for the average Joe, they think, okay, then there must be something good about this, that's why it's charged that way. Because if, let's say, I'm someone new to the mobile phone industry, but every phone I see, the itel, the Infinix, they are around 1,000 cedis. All of a sudden, I see an Apple or an iPhone that is 15,000 cedis. They'll be like, hey, why? Why is this 15,000 cedis? They will think, okay, it must be good, that's why it's charged high. So they will prefer to go for that just to be safe. So if you are still charging relatively cheap, thinking that, oh, okay, if I charge cheap, I'll get, you are wrong. People don't go for cheap. They see cheap to be inferior. Look at China, for instance. Anything labeled China made is seen or is perceived as fake or inauthentic. If China produces this mount and they sell it for 5 cedis, and then let's say Gucci acquires this and put their logo on it and sells it for 100 cedis, people will buy the Gucci one. Why? Because it's highly priced and maybe Gucci. But anything coming from China, people is labeled it as inferior, even though it's very cheap and affordable. So you need to price right. I'm not saying go and overprice. You can only overprice if your brand is also well recognized and you have good reference. But aside that, either stick to the market average or just a little above it. Don't go too high, but just definitely don't go too low. You understand? So if you take all these 3 things into consideration, your pricing, trying to go for outreach, and then picking a niche. Picking a niche for me is the most important thing. You need to be specific, or you need to be the guy for a particular audience, so that anytime they want something in that particular field, you'll be the go-to guy. So that's my little thing I have for you regarding why some creators don't tend to bring in steady amount of revenue every month. If you enjoy this in any way or form, don't forget just to like, subscribe, follow, anything that will help the channel and the brand at large to grow. If you have any suggestions, any opinions, any contradictory statements, you can just pin it down in the comments and we'll discuss about it. Any suggestions will be entertained. I'm Nia Titiria, this is 920 Digital, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.